Good afternoon, folks. My name is Femi the Agent,
I'm Femi the Realtor.
and here we are on another episode of Real Estate and Sneakers, two of my favorite things that I love to talk about. Um, so you guys know that we love sneakers. We buy them, we collect them, we wear them. The ones we don't wear, we end up selling. But today I got a special pair that I've probably been sitting on for a couple months. This is the Adidas NMD R1 Snakeskin. So the NMDs is like a really popular sneaker, really comfortable. I'd say that much. I have probably like 6 or 7 pairs of these, all in different flavors. And I actually remember going to a Tony Robbins event, and I was there. Anybody who's seen Tony Robbins, you know that he stands on his feet all day, and this guy has so much energy. I don't know where he gets the energy from. I think we were standing for like 12 hours, and I had a pair on. I didn't have to take them off. I was super comfortable the whole day. I think I felt like I had slippers on. But this pair here, the Snakeskins, this is a really dope pair because these actually glow in the dark. They glow in the dark. They're really super comfortable. It has the 3M laces and the snakeskin material. So like I said, a really dope pair. And anybody that knows me knows that I love to travel. So this is definitely going to be a pair that you can see from the bottom. These are still dead stock, haven't been worn yet. The tags are still on them. So I'll definitely be breaking these out on some foreign soil. You can find these out there. I mean, the prices have jumped up. I was looking this morning, I think size 10 and the 10 and a half are like $2,000, $2,500. So if you could get yourself a pair, I'd definitely say do so. If not, I really don't know what to tell you. We'll touch on sneakers later, but my son is going to jump into the mortgages and let you know what's going on with the with real estate.
Yeah, so with real estate right now, luckily rates have dropped dramatically, so they're not, all this hype in media that everybody's seeing 8% and 8.5%, 7%. They've dropped dramatically. The Fed is doing a cut in some of the rates. So in the new year, the rates will come down even more. But as of right now, the rates for a 30-year fixed are right above 6%, so around 6.1. For 15-year fixed, right over 5.5, so around like 5.7. And they'll only be dropping more. So if you're looking to purchase or you've been on the fence, not me trying to be a salesman, but now is definitely the best time to start looking, especially if you have to sell to buy something else, because when the spring comes around and the summer comes around, you're going to have a lot more competition to be going against. I know a lot of people have been waiting, since 2020 comparing rates to 2% and, some of these rates that we've never seen before that are out of the normal. But now is definitely a good time to start looking around and start, actually taking some aggressive approaches to actually purchasing, because like I said, when the spring and summer comes about, a lot of people are going to come back into the market. And with the rates coming down dramatically and dropping even more, you're going to have way more competition out there. So, I know a lot of ideologies with sellers and people looking to, sell. They're more so, well, I want to wait because, more buyers will come back in the market. But the same market you sell in, you have to buy in this, and even some people that are just looking to sell, when your kids come out of school or you have more time, it's more light outside, the weather is better, more people are just going to want to be in the market naturally. So you're going to have an influx of homes coming on the market as well. If you're just looking to sell, maybe you have, an investment property or something like that, a vacation home, something like that, you're still going to have to go against all those other homes on the market as well. So, to put you in the best light while everybody's still, holiday time, spending time with their family and things of that nature, you could be outside looking for homes. It's not as much competition right now in terms of selling and buying, but when the weather becomes nicer, people have more time on their hands, you're going to be going against a lot of different offers if you're looking to purchase, or if you're looking to sell. A lot of inventory is going to be coming back on the market because people are retiring from their jobs, people are looking to relocate out of state. A upgrade, upsize, downsize. You know, people have time to look for different schools before September hits. So you definitely want to be mindful of all those things, you know, to put your best foot forward and start looking around now, despite what other people are saying. And for all the people that's been renting, or, you know, I had somebody reach out to me the other day. They said they spent $3,000, $3,500 on rent. You know, you're not getting anything back from renting, and, you know, your rent is only going to increase as well. So regardless if you want to be a homeowner or not a homeowner, you know, renting, you're never getting anything back, and you also have to move on somebody else's timetable. So, you know, if let's say your landlord has a family member coming in, you know, they're visiting some family and something like that. If your lease is on a month to month or ends at a specific point in the year, you know, they could be like, well, I have family coming, you know, you got to find somewhere else to go. And just like that, you could be gone. Or you're looking around scrambling, thinking that, you know, you have the comfortability of, you know, I've been here a while, this, that, and a third, but you're not in control of the situation is basically the point I'm trying to make. So, you know, you're either going to be paying somebody else's mortgage, or you could be paying your own mortgage. You know, you call your own shots on what you want to do. You know, some of the improvements you want to make, you don't really have to answer that anybody, so to speak. But that's definitely, you know, some of the things you want to be mindful of going into the new year.
Okay. Like my son said, now is a great time to jump in the market. You know, you have less competition right now, and also with the interest rates. One of the banks, one of the vendors that I work with, I can get you into a house right now for a 30-year fix for under 6%, around 5.75, 5.625. So you guys can reach out to me. I can give you more information on that. But we don't want to waste too much time on the real estate stuff. I want to jump right into my guest here, who's actually not just a guest, he's actually someone that I consider a friend, that I've known for over 15 years. We want to introduce Nadine Morency from J Moore Realty.
Thank you for having me, Femi.
Thank you for being here. And like I said, we've known each other for over 15 years, and you know, we're competitors, folks, but we're really not competitors because, you know, we're in the same field, but you know, you have people that you come up against, people that you hold in high regard that, like I said, it's not a competition thing. I can even share a quick story of, you know, we've gone against each other on certain listings. And it's funny when you talk with the sellers that say that, okay, Nadine, I just spoke to Femi and he had nothing but nice things to say about you. And then I'll speak to her and it'll be the same thing. So, you know, for us, there's a mutual love, admiration, and respect for one another. And, you know, what I always try to tell people, folks, is that when you're going up against somebody, you don't need to bash them. You don't need to talk bad about somebody to make yourself feel better or to make yourself look better. There's enough business out here for everybody. And, you know, the ones that get it, and the ones that don't. Right?
Agreed.
So, you know, just a little bit about you and your background, if you want to let the folks know. Even though I know, you know, we kind of want to share with the world.
Right. So my name is Nadine Morency-Mohs. I am a real estate broker and owner of J Moore Realty. I've been in the industry for 18 years, and I love what I do. I love real estate with a passion. I started real estate as a journey because I too was becoming a homeowner early on in life, and I realized that I wasn't too fond of the experience that I was going through with the realtors. And I said, I can do this, you know? So I said, I can do this because I had a sales background,
right,
and as well as me knowing and loving real estate,
right,
watching my father as an investor for years. And I said, this is something that and especially after seeing, you know, I went through an experience where I was selling a home,
right,
and I saw that commission check. I was like,
that changed everything.
Right?
Right?
It sure did. But I'm a people person as well. So,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, but you having a sales background, I think having a sales background, you kind of have to be a people person.
Right.
I mean, you have some people who are in sales but don't have that background, and it kind of shows.
Right.
And the results that they're getting from the work that they're doing.
Agreed.
And it's funny that you and I basically got into the business for the same reason because, you know, for me getting into the real estate, I wanted to have the upper hand when I decided to buy. So like I got licensed in April of 2002, and in May I found the house, and my son was actually also born in May, and then we closed on the house in July. Funny enough, we closed in July. A week after we closed, I get laid off from work. So that's a whole nother story and a whole nother series, folks.
Okay.
But we got into the business really for the same reasons, and I
Yeah.
think me buying my first house with the first company that I worked at, the experience that I had, it was mom and pop. My experience really wasn't the best
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So I kind of said to myself, I know that I can do it a little bit better. Having to to buy the house and go through that company and them getting half the check
Right.
without having to do anything kind
Exactly.
of, I think, woke me up.
Yep.
And I think it did the same thing for you,
I
right?
agree. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
How was your experience in sales before getting into real estate, and how long did you do it before jumping into real
Yeah.
estate?
So I was in corporate sales for about 5 years.
Okay.
My first job, I got it through school.
Nice.
I went to school, and I was looking for a job, and he said, you know what, there's a sales position available. And I was like, I've never been in sales before. I said, okay. I tried it, and I did very well.
Nice.
So my first job, my second job, I got it from my first job. So I was cold
nice.
calling, door knocking. So I would sell business, in corporate America, I would go to different companies and solicit the business services from the company that I was working for.
Nice.
And then a company called me and said, hey, I want you to work for us. So I left one, went to the other,
other.
and then went from the other to the third. And
Oh, wow.
everyone just hiring me from the previous company because, of what I did. And
But I think
it
a
worked
lot
out
of
well.
that, also, sorry to cut you off, I think a lot of that had to do with your work ethic
Yeah.
and the way that
Yeah.
the way you handled business and the way that you were thriving in your business.
Right. Agreed.
For the company.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are I guess some of the takeaways that you can share with with the viewers from working corporate to transitioning into real estate?
A lot of it is the same. It's parallel. Real estate. So this is a business,
Right.
And this is one of the
Business,
biggest
folks.
business, right? So it's one of the biggest decisions that people are making in a lifetime.
Sure.
We're in residential. This commercial real estate is residential, but we're in residential, and we're dealing with a lot of emotions, a lot of people. There's a lot of things involved, moving parts in terms of tenants, in terms
A
of
lot of moving parts.
so many yeah, so tenants or squatters, family members, homeowners who've been legacy homeowners who've been in their homes for
Forever.
forever.
Generations.
Yeah, generations, exactly. So the emotions are heightened, and the buyers who've never been through this process before, they need to walk you through it step by step. You need to be the counselor, their mentor, their realtor, their friend,
Their therapist.
yeah, their therapist.
Psychologist.
Yeah. So you're literally like, I tell people when we're doing a transaction, this is like a marriage.
Sure.
Like we are married until you enter your home.
Right.
And so, up until this day, I have a client who I sold her home in this about 3 or 4 months ago. She sends me a daily text message.
Really?
Every day. So it says a lot. People
But I think that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning too. Her texting you every day says a lot about you, says a lot about your integrity, says a lot about the way that you handled not just the transaction, but the way that you dealt with that client for them to still want to be in contact with you.
Yeah, agreed.
It does. I mean, because we both know a lot of agents who you do a deal with somebody, and right after the deal is done,
Right.
either the buyer or the seller wants nothing to do with that person.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I try to tell people go ahead, I'm sorry.
No. I'm laughing at a scenario in my head. Actually, you know what? In all my 18 years, I definitely had one experience like that. Only one. And I'm just like, wow, that's odd. When it happens, you're just like, you're kind of taken aback.
You're taken aback, yeah.
But unfortunately, it was a misunderstanding on the part of the buyer. Unfortunately, I was representing the buyer.
Got it.
And the buyer, the listing agent, she was, I'll tell you offline. That's a whole different story. But the listing agent, unfortunately, she was really not tactful with the whole process.
Got it.
And we literally got to the closing, and the buyer was like, I am not closing because this
Wow.
was such an
Nightmare
horrible
of a deal.
experience. Yeah.
Wow.
But actually, she was still proceeding. Her daughter didn't let her close. Her daughter was like,
Really?
Mom, I'm not letting you buy this house.
Wow.
And I was like, I said, no way. They didn't close. So that was,
And you didn't close?
we did not close. The documents were signed.
Wow.
Everything was done. Checks were in front of us. And they were like, nope. I've
Wow.
never seen that before. That definitely took me aback. But that was one and only.
Was that like your first or your second year in the business, or was that
That was this year.
really?
Yes. It was in January.
Wow.
Yep.
So, folks, for a lot of us,
Yeah.
Nadine is in 18 years. I'm in 21 years. I'm a little bit of a dinosaur, maybe to some, but we've seen everything. We've dealt with everything. And you said that deal didn't close up till now.
No, she bought another house.
Wow.
Yes. And the realtor,
Wow.
I was shocked. She didn't even come to the closing because she knew.
She knew it wasn't.
No. I don't
Well,
know. If
I
she
think
knew,
the way that she handled it, she knew that.
that's what that's the point I'm trying to make. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Eesh.
Yeah.
Was there? I think going through that deal, because you represented the seller.
The buyer.
Oh, you represented the buyer.
Yeah.
Well, then for you, there was really nothing you could have done differently on that deal. That would have changed anything.
In all honesty, no, because there was a lot of misrepresentation from the listing agent side,
Right.
and like the first thing was, will the house be delivered vacant, and will it take a long time to close?
To close.
Yes, vacant. No, it's not going to take a long time. We get into contract. She's like, I don't know when they're moving.
But that's not what you said in the beginning.
This is the point. And my buyer is moving from a different state.
Oh my goodness.
So what
Going
do we
back
do?
to the moving pieces again.
Exactly.
And a different state, folks.
Right. So, and she really wanted this house, and I actually tried to encourage her to get another house, and she's like, I want this
I'm
house.
dead set on this house.
And I don't know why. I don't know what was so special about this
special about
house.
the house.
Because she was putting $400,000 down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I know. She had the money. She had the resources. It could have been an easy, breezy, smooth, clean deal. And
Well, you know what it is. I think when you start off from the beginning, the wrong way, 9 times out of 10, it's just going to continue to go left, and it will never fall into place.
that's what happened.
Wow.
That's exactly what happened. It started on a wrong foot.
Wow.
Yeah.
And guys, what a lot of people don't understand is in this business, you have 20, 30, 40,000 agents. The more that you do the business, you start to realize who the good agents are, who the bad agents
Right.
are. You start to realize the agents that you want to do business with. You start to realize the agents that you want to stay away from, just based on what you've heard,
Right.
based on their reputation, because your reputation always precedes you.
Yes.
And then also, the business for us, because we've been doing it so long, for the two of us, it's about our reputation, it's about our name.
Right.
So for us, we only want to do business with like-minded people, and the
Exactly.
people who also have that integrity. So if this agent would have had the integrity and communicated properly from the beginning, you wouldn't have had the problems that you had.
Agreed.
And for you to go, how many months did you guys go in? Were you in contract?
We started in, I want to say, August
Wow.
or September, and we didn't close. Well, we didn't close.
You got to the table
we got to the table in January, and the goal was to get into our house by November, before Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Did we start August? Maybe it might. No, I'm sorry. It was September. Yeah, it was September.
Wow. Wow, that's bad.
Yeah.
And did you ended up selling her the new house?
No, because she unfortunately towards the end she thought I was in cahoots with the
other
realtor,
agent. Oh, Lord.
where it was me just trying to facilitate the process to get it done.
Right.
She went
And you're trying to educate them through the process and trying to explain
Yep.
to them how certain things are supposed to work.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, this one didn't go the way it was supposed to. I mean, we kind of had a similar situation, but it wasn't. I mean, it was the other company. It was a out-of-state company who's trying to, I guess, plant their seeds in New York. And we went into contract. Well, it took almost a month to get into contract. Then when we finally do get into contract, we run into some issues because it was a company from Georgia.
Okay.
So, company from Georgia, they're using an attorney from New Jersey, different state, different laws. We were supposed to close maybe 2 months in.
Yeah.
We end up going maybe 5 or 6 months. So now the interest rates have changed.
Yes. Yes.
The motivation has changed for the
Yes.
buyer. And the buyer just got to a point where they say, you know what, we want no other parts of this. We just want to walk away from the deal. And that's
Right.
what they ended up doing, because even though they knew that it wasn't myself or it wasn't my son, because we had been recommended to them.
Right.
And everything that we needed to do thus far, getting to that point, we did. And unfortunately, with it dragging so long, the deal ended up falling apart. So, for a lot of agents, 2023 was a little bit of a rough year.
It really was.
For myself also speaking.
Not just you, literally. I'm sorry to cut you
For
off.
the whole industry, right?
I'm talking about top agents. They were like, my business dropped drastic, like 40, 50%.
Wow.
Yes. I talked to a lot of them. Yes.
I've spoken to a lot of agents too.
Yeah.
I know a lot of agents that came into big business in the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 to 6 months in, a lot of them got out of the industry.
Yeah.
Because, folks, unfortunately, with the social media age, you guys only see what people want you to see.
Right.
They want you to think that it's all glitz and glamour. They want you to think that everybody's making money. But newsflash, folks, a lot of people in real estate are not making money.
Right.
A lot of people in real estate are struggling because they're not putting that work in. They're
Right.
not doing the things that they need to do, which is the prospecting, which is the following up with the agents, which is following up with the sellers, following up with the buyers.
That's right.
Just doing all the basic things that you need to do.
That's right.
So what would be, I guess, your advice for somebody that's looking to get into the business, let's say in 2024?
I tell people referrals is everything, and
Right.
that's like 90% of my business.
Right.
You know, you start with your immediate circle, your immediate network. So your friends, family, neighbors, and then you expand. If you're in the street, you can't be a secret agent.
You guys say that? I say that to a lot of people a lot of times.
Right.
You cannot be in real estate, folks, and be a secret agent.
Everyone you come in contact with. For me, when I started, like, I'm a supermarket, post office, wherever, I'm letting people know I'm a realtor. I'll pass my card. I mean, not every single person, but like.
Well, pretty much. I think
Yeah.
once you get out there, it's almost like the cameras are on. So
Right.
now it's time for you to
Right.
do the things that you need to do to try to garner some attention and try to garner some business. Because
Exactly.
in the beginning, you have no business.
There we go.
So for you and I, starting off 2003 to 2004, there
Yep.
was no Facebook.
Right.
There was no Instagram.
Right.
So for us, it was really just kind of pounding the pavement.
Yes, pounding pavement. Again, talking to people. So initially, it was my circle. So my friends, family, my coworkers. I was working full time still. So my
Nice.
coworkers, and that's where I started to get my business from.
Nice.
My coworkers, my family. My first sale was my husband's aunt.
Nice.
Right, and then I was selling another house simultaneously. I was still working full time. I was in school full time.
Wow.
My classmates, I would let them know I'm in real estate. So it starts with your circle. My neighbor told me. So what happens is a lot of times people were looking for instant gratification, as you know, right? And they get into real estate, they're like, oh, big money, spin the wheel of fortune, big money, big money.
Right.
And they think that it's going to happen now.
Right.
You're planting seeds. This is a plant seeds business. You plant the seeds, and then next thing you know, what happens? You got to water it, obviously. You got to fertilize it.
Right.
That's taking time. But when the ball starts rolling,
When it starts to go.
people are like, okay, I'm not selling now or I'm not buying now, but in a year, oh yeah, I remember when I met Femi.
Right.
I liked Femi.
Right.
Let me call him. He's in real estate. Oh, Femi, my coworker, he's ready to buy. Femi, guess what? I'm getting married. I need a bigger house.
I need a bigger house.
Right.
We need a small house.
Right. So, life happens, and I tell people all the time, especially I've had those too, where you like you said, you pound the pavement, you speak to people, they're like, I'm not selling, no, I don't want your card, it's okay. Take my card, you never know. Life
Flip the
happens.
switch. Yeah.
Right. And I get those calls.
Right.
I'm not selling, I don't want to sell, don't put anything on my door.
Do not bother me.
Don't bother me. But then you get the call, like they'll take your card, they'll put it somewhere.
Right.
They're cleaning up. Unfortunately, a loved one passes away. Something happens. They're getting a divorce. They call you. I met you 2 years ago and I need to sell. It happens.
I had a situation, funny enough that you said that.
Right.
I had a situation in Elmont with the dean that he teaches. He was a dean. He's the dean upstate.
Okay.
His parents passed away. They lived in the house for, I think, 45 years.
Yep.
And I had been mailing the area. And he went to the house one day to clean up. Mm-hmm. I found your postcard. I need to sell my parents' house.
Yeah.
We go there. We talk to him. We explain to him the process. He said, okay, I'm not ready right this second. I still got some paperwork to do. We went there. We sat down with him, got through everything. And maybe a month or two later,
Yeah.
he calls us back. I'm ready.
Yep.
We go back. We sit down with him, explain to him the paperwork again, sign up the listing. We end up listing the property and also selling it. So we double in the property
Okay.
just based on a postcard,
Yes.
but then also the follow-up.
Yes.
A lot, guys, we try to tell you that all the time, just like Nadine said. A lot of the business in the beginning, when you have no business, is talking to everybody, letting everybody know what you do for a living, because you can't be a secret agent and be successful.
Right.
So, you can be the quietest person and you can be the loudest person, but just always make sure that people around you know what you do for a living.
Exactly.
How long was it before you transitioned from working your full-time job into real estate full-time?
That's a good question. So I started real estate in 2005 when I was pregnant I got my license when I was pregnant. And
Similar stories.
Right,
I wasn't
exactly.
pregnant. I wasn't pregnant, folks, but my son was, he was
right.
about to be born.
Right. So I was pregnant. I was in school full-time taking 15 credits. And I was working full-time 9 to 5 at a hospital in Brooklyn. But I had a desire and I had a goal and I had,
Well, you were driven.
I was driven as well. So I said I can't bring a child into this world with this income, the salary that I'm making right now,
Right.
which is about $35,000 a year. And I was like, no way, I could barely maintain myself.
Yourself.
Right. So then I said no, and then I said, okay, let me start real estate, and I said let me start with rentals. And my broker said, well, why don't you do sales? I said, well, let me get my feet wet first.
Well, you don't know what you're doing in the beginning.
Exactly, right. So I did start with rentals, and that was good.
Right.
I was really I was doing really well.
Well, it's really, really quick money.
Yes, exactly.
It's a good way for you to start, but looking at
longevity.
Right.
Yeah, knowing
right.
that there's other money that you can get. There's
Exactly.
bigger checks that you can
I wasn't
get.
ready for it yet. I was like, okay, but it's going to
Well,
take
there's baby steps. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. I was like, it's going to take longer to get there. And,
Right.
I have a lot going on.
Right.
Like you said, let me get the immediate money. And it was helpful. And then I did my first deal, again, with my husband's aunt.
Good job, Auntie. You picked a good one.
So not only did I sell her house, I sold her daughter's house.
Nice.
And
But that was the domino effect kind of kicking in, right?
Exactly. Nice. So with that, I sold her house and another house simultaneously. Those two checks alone replaced
Your whole year's
my
salary.
whole year's salary.
You hear that, folks?
So I was like, I told my husband, I looked at him, I was like, listen, you see what just happened here? I said, I could do this full time. I said, this is part-time money, not even full-time money. So I told my mom, I talked to my mom first. She said, no, real estate is part-time. Don't.
It's a fad. It's going to go away.
Right. I was like, no, I'm onto something. I told my husband, I was like, listen, if you support me, I'm going to do this full-time and I could really do well.
Right.
He was like, you sure? I said, yeah, I could do this. I said, look. He was like, let's do it. And here we are.
Nice.
Yeah.
So for you, going back to what we were just talking about just now, so you would say it took you what, a year, 2 years before you jumped in full time?
So.
Oh, you remember?
Okay, let me see. So that was I didn't go in full time right away because
Okay.
I did part time. I think I did full time maybe 2016 or 17.
Okay.
And I was like, because I was still in school.
Okay.
And I was like, I really want to get this out of the way. So not only did I do undergrad, I did grad. So I was like, let me get another job. You know what it was? I was ready to buy our house together.
Ah, okay.
And I was like, I need some more income.
Right.
So, and I didn't, that's another story.
It was,
but
right.
yeah. So I said, okay, but I did go into full time in 2010.
Okay.
Now, what I say, I can't remember the years, but
Okay.
either way, but I did go into full time eventually and I stayed in full time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you went into it full time after the market crashed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's when 2005, I got my license, 2008. I bought my house in 2008. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
6
So
years after I did. Because
Yeah.
thinking about it now, like you said, we've both been in business so long.
Right.
2008 and 9 was a little bit rough.
Yeah.
Because
But
we
not
had
for-
the market crash.
Right, but for some reason, people were saying that they were, it was really bad for them. I was doing short sales. I started doing short sales. I was doing well.
Nice.
So it didn't affect me.
It didn't affect you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did short sales too as well, but
Mm-hmm.
I think for me at that point, because I got in 2002,
Right.
so I had so much going on. I think at that point, because we had 2 multifamilies. I had my house that I had need to pay for.
Right.
The kids that you need to support,
Right.
and your overhead sometimes can get a little bit crazy.
Yes.
So when it gets like that, I think for me,
Yes.
you think that the money's going to continue to come in,
Exactly.
and then when you get behind the 8 ball, now you're playing catch up.
Yes.
And playing catch up.
Yes.
So for myself, during that period, it got a little bit rough. You kind of had to kind of scale back a lot. The property that we had when we actually bought it, I'm thinking about what Welby says. When you buy a property wrong in the beginning, unfortunately, it doesn't help, because my mindset at that point was, okay, so I have to put in, it might have been $500 to $1,000 every month. But I'm saying to myself, when this property is paid off, now this could be my nest egg.
Right.
But not thinking that the market is going to shift or the market is going to crash. And then it ends up doing that. And then it's like, okay, but you have your primary home that you're paying for.
Yes.
Then on top of that, you're taking money from there to pay for this. So now I'm not in the position where I can do that.
Right.
So it got a little bit rough for myself and for a lot of agents. A lot of agents ended
Yeah.
up getting out of the business. And I also did short sales too, but probably not as much as Nadine. So 2010, 2011, you were dealing with a lot of short sales.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you?
It's funny. The first short sale that I did when I was getting it, I didn't want to do it.
Really?
It was my previous coworker from the hospital.
Wow.
She was like, Nadine. So unfortunately, she bought a brownstone in Bed-Stuy,
Oof.
Stuyvesant Heights rather, And her husband went to school with someone. He grew up with someone, and he didn't want the brownstone. He wasn't living in New York. He was like, it's a family home. I don't want
nothing to do with it.
Right. So he said, I'm selling it for $325. $325. This was in 2008, either 7 or 8. I don't want it. So
$300,000 for a brownstone, folks.
Listen, a 2-family brownstone on Stuyvesant Avenue.
Oof.
So he was like,
I used to live on Lexington. Lewis and Marcus Garvey.
Oh,
I know exactly where that is.
Oh, wow. So he goes, I'm going to sell it to you. He was like, yeah, I'll definitely buy it. So my coworker's husband bought the house.
Okay.
His father's an architect. He converted to a 3-family.
Nice.
And he renovated it, right? This was before the Barclays.
Ah, okay. They got in early.
They knew the Barclays was coming. They were like, okay, we're going to buy it because we know the Barclays is coming. So they decided to hold on. Unfortunately, it got rough, like I said, like for everyone else. Yeah. In 2000, it got rough. They were paying the mortgage with their credit cards.
Ooh.
It was, and I felt for them because I was like, oh my God, I know their vision. But
I know the vision too, but to get through that rough patch.
Right. It was hard. I think like maybe 2 tenants weren't paying. It was hard. And
We had a similar situation with the 2-family that I had in Canarsie. Tenant wasn't paying, and now you got to chip in for that. So it was just a whole big mess.
Yeah, especially when people are not paying. Yeah, especially. So they said, we have to make a decision. We're going to sell this house, or they're like, no, we're going to make it work. I mean, I think they went through this for maybe 8 months, and they were like, okay.
It's not working.
And they were already behind on the mortgage. So they're like, okay, we're going to have to do a short sale. I didn't really know what it was. I didn't know what it was about. So I had to do research, and I was looking for realtors to give it to. I was like, you wanted
to know parts of it.
Right. I was like, you know how to do short sales? Here, you can take it.
Right.
They were like, and I don't know, for some reason, I wasn't finding anyone to do a short sale.
Right.
I said, well, I'm going to have to learn how to do this.
I got to do it myself, right?
And that was my first short sale.
Wow.
And from then, that was my experience to lead me to other stuff. But I did a short, they owed about 7-something on the house.
Okay.
I did a short sale for $510.
Nice.
3-family renovated brownstone on Stuyvesant. I want to say in Macon.
Wow. And I know you do a lot of business in Brooklyn. You do a lot of business with those brownstones. What would you say right now if you had to guess what the brownstone is worth right now?
That's like 2.8. And that's not even 20 years ago. That's not even 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So those buyers, they were on me like rice.
They wanted the place and they saw the vision.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yep.
What is what's your family background? Where you from? Where you born?
I was born here in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And my parents are Haitian.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm born in Brooklyn. My parents are Nigerian. So you guys kind of see the theme of what's going on.
Right.
So that's where would you say your drive and your work ethic? Where does that come from?
Yeah, definitely my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom is a very hard worker as well.
And I've met your dad and your mom.
Yes.
Your dad is very.
Yeah. My father, oh my God, this man works. I want to say out of 24 hours, he maybe works 18 of those, for what, 4 decades. Wow. So now he's retired, thankfully.
And has he also he's always been a real estate investor?
Yes, he started. So he saw the vision of real estate early on in life. He came here at 16 and bought about 10 family members from Haiti on his back.
Wow. Nice.
And he knew he had to grow up fast, so he learned that real estate is a wealth tool.
Right.
So he bought a family home in the Flatlands area of Brooklyn.
Okay.
That was a 3-family house. He bought that. I forgot how much. He bought it in the 80s.
Wow.
And then he put his name on the list for the Nehemiah homes.
Nice.
So that was us, the family home.
Right.
And then he bought an investment property from the VA auction.
Nice.
On Flatbush, Beverly, and Nostrand.
Oh, nice. Okay.
2-family.
I used to live on Forster Avenue, between Forster and 24th, right off of Flatbush Avenue.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that when I was in the co-op. Yeah.
So I'm very familiar with the area.
Okay.
Nice.
And then he just started he would buy stuff, fix and flip, and he would buy stuff at auctions. He would network with attorneys, he would go to the auctions. Smart. And this was before auctions became popular. Right. And he would get
even
lists.
Before networking got popular.
Right.
Your dad was already doing
exactly.
it.
Exactly. Wow. He was even though he didn't go to school because he was taking care of the family,
right.
he was an avid reader, and he was always doing research. He was always, so he really made sure he positioned himself to acquire enough assets to maintain. And he realized that, I could really
I could really
do
something
this.
with this.
Yeah, with real estate.
But when he was doing that back then, did you take any interest in it back then,
No,
or you wanted nothing to do
I was
with
like, all right, whatever. We got a roof over our head. Thank you. Thank God.
I think for me too, kind of similar. It's funny that our stories are very similar. You know, my dad did real estate too when I was younger. Like, he owned a bunch of brownstones in Bed-Stuy. He actually ended up giving them back to the banks because he was having so many problems with the tenants.
Wow.
And he lives in Connecticut now, so every time when he would come to New York, when we would drive by and I tell him what these houses are worth, he wants to kill himself. But
My dad too.
yeah, so he actually, funny enough, he owned a real estate office in Park Slopes.
Oh wow.
Back in the day, but back when he was doing real estate, I wanted no parts of it because for us, he wanted us to go there and help him clean up the houses. I didn't want to clean up the house. I'm a teenager,
Right.
so we wanted no parts of it. But you know, I think you watch enough of that, and I think the work ethic, like you said, you pick that up from your parents, and then you start to do what you need to do. You know, for me, similar background. You know, before doing real estate, I was doing medical billing. But before doing medical billing, I used to buy cars, fix them, and sell them. So, you know, when you're talking about flipping property, which I'm doing now, it's kind of similar.
Right.
But it's always about the work ethic. What I always
Yes.
try to tell people, everything starts and stops with the work ethic.
Right.
As long as you have that and you try to instill that in your kids,
Right.
as long as you have that, you can do anything and you
Right.
can withstand anything.
Right.
Is what I always try to tell people.
I admire you, for bringing your son to the business. I admire you for even taking up that, that calling because.
Thank you. But let me correct you because I actually didn't bring him into the business.
No.
He went and took the test on his own, and when he passed the test is when he told me that he got it.
Oh
So
my
I didn't bring him into the
God.
business. I always
love
try to
that.
give him his flowers because I had nothing to do with it. I mean, you think about it. As kids, when someone tells you to do something, you want to do the opposite of what they tell you to do.
That's right.
So I had nothing to do with it. It was something that he wanted to do.
I love that so much.
He went and did it, and you know, here we are. I know you also do a lot of business in Queens, in the Adidas Park section of Queens.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that area because I know that for a lot of people who don't know, as far as the heritage in that area, if you want to kind of touch on that and give people
So
an idea.
Adidas Park, it has such rich history because of who resided there. But it also goes back even to the early 1900s. Adidas Park was built by Englishmen. They came and they saw the large land, and they wanted to build homes that resemble homes in England. So they built these large colonial Tudor homes, wide streets, so the horse and buggies could ride down.
Wow.
And barn-style garages. So this was a vision of these Englishmen to build these homes for, I guess, the affluent white families in Queens.
Okay.
And because Queens was mostly farmland.
Farmland.
Right. So eventually, as time progresses, there was in the early, I want to say 1920s or 30s, I think it was. There was a family who was moving out of the neighborhood. Oh, I'm sorry. They had restrictive covenants on these houses, on the deeds, that you cannot sell to black families. So in the 30s, this family is moving, and they didn't get along with their neighbors. So to spite them, they sold.
Oh, I love it.
They sold their house to a black family, and everyone was in uproar. Like, no, look, the deed says restrictive. They took it to court, and they won. Supreme Court said this is unconstitutional. You cannot
Overturned it.
Yeah, they overturned it. So you cannot. Yeah. So at that point, Lena Horne, Fats Waller, they were civil rights leaders also, and they came into the community and started bringing their friends.
Nice.
Their friends, James Brown, Joe Lewis, Jackie Robinson, Lena Horne, Ella Fitzgerald, and all of these affluent, Count Basie. I can name names.
Names, right?
Right. But these luminaries, and they built. They wanted to. All of these people resided in Harlem, and they wanted to come to Adidas Park because it's not far from the city.
The city,
Because
right.
they have to go to the Cotton Club and Apollo to perform.
Right.
But they wanted suburbia because they wanted to raise their families.
Right.
And that's why they this community is so rich in history.
Wow.
And it's landmarked and historic. It was landmark designated in 2011. And
Which means with certain houses, when she says landmark, folks, when you're buying certain houses, you have to, I guess, kind of conform with the way that the other houses are set up.
Exactly. You can't change the character of the exterior of the homes without permission from landmarks.
Right.
And they pretty much want you to maintain the way it is and the way it was from the time that it was built.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. From the first deal, let's say if you can remember that far back, How much was maybe the first property that you sold in Adidas Park,
Yes.
and then now in 2023,
Right.
what are the one family homes going for?
Good question. So the first home, so that was one of my neighbors. I met him when I first moved, and 2 years later, he was like, I gotta sell, and I gotta sell now. So unfortunately, he had to sell pretty quickly, but that was a really beautiful home, and we sold that one in 24 hours for 415.
How long ago was that?
2010.
2010, 415,000 folks.
Now,
Move forward to 2023. What's a one family house going for now?
yeah, if it was a size home of that house that I sold, about nine. If it's in turnkey condition,
Right.
easily $1 million. Turnkey. If it needs work, it could be like 850, 875. Yeah.
And then also, because I've done some business in Adidas Park, not as much as you, but what is the what was the question that I wanted to ask? The average one family, I guess, size of the house. What would you say, like interior?
Oh, good question. Yeah. Okay, there are about 550 homes in the neighborhood.
I was about to ask you
Yeah,
that too.
so 550. So I would say the average is about at least 2,000 square feet.
Give or take. Okay.
Yeah, but then
Nice.
the larger homes, like one of the homes I sold was 3,000 square feet
Nice.
with 12,000 square foot land.
Wow.
And the taxes are under 10,000.
Which is a beautiful thing. You know,
Right.
anybody, when you're looking in Queens, folks, and you're trying to be very close to the city, Adidas Park is the area that you want to be in. You know, if you can find something over there, if you can get in.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's
Nadine's the mayor over there, folks. So make sure you go through Nadine if you're looking for something. Adidas Park.
right.
Yeah, I know that Adidas Park is like it's like a well-known secret. Like my
Yeah.
daughter actually used to dance down a block from there at
Oh, on Merrick Boulevard.
Chapel of the Redeemer on
Okay.
Merrick and 110th.
Okay.
She used to dance at the school, and that's how I sort of got familiar with that area.
Yes.
So I didn't even know about it, neither. I mean, and I was in the business, so when you get into the business, you start to learn about some of these
Exactly.
different historical areas and just the rich history that you have behind it.
Right.
Which is why I wanted you to touch on that. What would be, I guess, your advice for anybody, like I said, that's looking to get into the business in the new year? I know we touched on it before.
Right.
But you would say more so, like you said, try to work your sphere of influence.
Exactly. And don't just do it for the money, because again, this is a people business. So it's about thinking about the solutions first, and talking to people like who've been in business like you and I and other people who've been in business for 10, 15, 20 years. We've seen the cycles. We've gone through the motions of so many different scenarios.
And we're still standing, folks.
By the grace of God.
By the grace of God.
and just mentorship, even if it's like a lunch meeting with someone, just to kind of understand the business.
Right.
Because social media is really showing you like a second
It's
highlight
smoke and
reel.
mirrors.
It really is.
Right.
It really is. So
But when you were getting in, did you have a mentor?
no, I
Because
didn't.
I know I didn't have a
I
mentor.
didn't. Just watching my dad, just watching
Okay.
him, and knowing what it could do to for a family.
Nice.
Yeah, not really having a mentor. And my brokers, because I was in school full time, they always said, "Hey, come to meetings," but
Right.
I was never able to make the
You
meetings.
didn't have time, yeah.
So I just kind of went through the process of doing it on my own.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you had a question for me?
Yeah. So for 2024, what are some of your goals and what are you looking to do?
Yeah. So for goals, I'm looking to acquire more assets.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that I actually regret. That's a regret that I have. I wish there's this guy that I met in, not to sidetrack from the question, but there's a man that I met at one of the closings that I went that I had. I want to say about 7 or 8 years ago. He was the broker, but he wasn't involved with the deal. His realtor was involved, but the realtor had a full-time job.
Okay.
He came to pick up the check. He said, "Whatever you do, I see you're a young realtor. Whatever you do," he was like in his maybe 80s, 70s, 80s.
Wow.
He said, "Whatever you do, make sure when you get opportunities, you acquire them."
I remember you and I talking about that offline.
Right. He said, "You're going to come across a lot of properties. Don't sell all of them. Acquire some."
Right.
He said because he owns properties near the Barclays. He owns a lot of properties on Atlantic Avenue. He owns a lot of properties, I think, downtown Brooklyn.
Nice.
And he was able to make a really nice nest egg for himself.
Smart.
He said, so do that for you because, there's going to come a point in time you're not going to be hustling and bustling.
That's true.
So, yeah, that's my goal for
You wanna
24.
do.
And I'll
And
be
then
on.
you want to purchase stuff like in state, or you open to out of state, or?
I'm open out of state. I actually have a property out of state now in Detroit, and I'm looking for more properties.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you went to Detroit. Okay,
Yeah, I
nice.
went to Detroit,
I just I bought something in Utica. I went.
Oh,
we
okay.
went upstate.
Okay.
So
okay.
the same thing like you. We're looking to, because for us folks, there is no nest egg. There's no 401k
Right.
when you're in real estate. So for us, it's doing what we have to do with our business so that we can actually take that money to be able to invest so that we can do more.
Exactly.
So that's really what the nature of the business is about. You know, maintaining good relationships and you know, doing right by your clients so that
Opportunities present themselves.
Yeah, the opportunities will present themselves. So, what is the best way for anyone to reach you if they're looking to reach out to
Right.
you?
So you can reach me at Instagram, J More Realty. All handles are J More Realty, except I think LinkedIn is my phone name, Nadine Morency-Mohs. Yep.
Okay. And phone number, office number?
My phone number is 718-216-0633. My business number.
Nice.
Yes.
You have any properties that you want to plug?
Yeah, so I'm currently selling a 2-family in the Bronx, 653 East 20. No, I'm sorry, 953 East 225th Street. It's a 2-family for $640.
Nice.
Also, a 2-family for Rockaway for $750. That's 421 Beach 29th Street. A 2-family in Far Rockaway, 1286 Augustina Avenue, Far Rockaway for $585. A single family in South Ozone Park for $750. That's 13035 146th Street.
Nice.
Huge 5-bedroom house. And that's off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Okay. So you guys need anything, you can always reach out to Nadine. She has properties all over. She does. I've bumped into Nadine in Brooklyn. We bumped into each other in Queens, in Long Island. We bump into each other in a lot of different places because she does business in a lot of different places, the same that we do. I'm a Brooklyn boy, so I still do business in Brooklyn. We do business in Queens. We do business in Long Island. So if you guys need her, definitely reach out to her. She's very knowledgeable, very easy person to work with. If you need to sell, looking to buy, you can reach out to me also. 917-337-3727. Femi the agent on all handles. Son?
And you can reach out to me. My direct number is 516-662-6824. And on Instagram, it's at Femi the Realtor. If you're looking to buy, sell, invest, have rentals, anything of that nature.
So we're here to support you, and whatever you guys are looking to do, folks, we've probably already been through it, so we can definitely help you navigate throughout the process. So stay safe, have a great day, and happy holidays.